All right. So, um, welcome back, everybody. So, tonight's project is quite a fairly complex piece of equipment that I've been working on here. Probably, what you're seeing is just a couple of Baofeng repeaters. Some of them have been opened, and some of them are still in their intact. Um, just how they're built. So recently, our repeater that is for the Radio Society of Kenya has been having a bit of issues uh, because it is located up in Moore Hills. Moore Hills should be on your left as you head down to Mombasa. It's quite a fairly up high place in terms of altitude from Nairobi because that location quite some a fairly good amount of radio equipment placed up there because the vantage point is that you can cover pretty much the whole of Nairobi from that point, and I think that's an excellent location for a repeater. But since it was mounted back, I think in June of 2024, and it is a Kenwood TKR D710 VHF digital repeater, robust equipment. But of late, we've been having challenges to hit it from any location in Nairobi. So I thought probably why not in the meantime see whether I could put together a custom repeater based on the simple Baofeng radios. So what you can see here basically is generally the main principle of operation of a repeater. Um, this radio here, this is the radio for the person that is the person making the call from any location. So that person will be holding um, this unit, and then spanning down on this side, this is now the person who now is going to receive the signal will be holding this radio. These two radios are pretty much the same. Nothing in terms of design is different about these two radios. They're all Baofeng radios. And then what you see here now, this is the repeater itself. So you probably might be wondering what is a repeater. A repeater is a radio equipment which is supposed to help two people who are quite apart from each other to be able to reach each other. So by that, what do I mean is, say for example, person A is on this side and wants to contact person B. So what happens is, if these two people are far from each other, person A will call the repeater, and then the repeater will transmit the signal to the second person. So generally, that is how a repeater works. For this to work, this needs to be like fairly up. That is between these two people who want to contact together. So I think I could just pretty much explain this concept on a piece of paper, and then at least most of my viewers can be able to understand how this works. So this, what I'm going to draw here, is basically how these two radios are going to contact each other. So let's take for example, we have person A at this point, and we have, say for example, a very tall hill, and then person B is on this side. So if if person A wants to contact person B, at the moment it will be impossible because of this hill or a mountain between them. This is just a natural phenomenon. So what happens is, for person A to contact person B, it needs to go through a repeater, and then the repeater is now going to be at this point. So say for example, we have a structure here. Most repeaters are mounted at the highest point, So the repeater is mounted at this point here. So what happens is, for example, for this setup, this repeater has two frequencies. It has the receiving frequency and the transmitting frequency. So what does this mean? One side of the repeater is going to be called the RX, and the other side of the repeater is going to be called the TX. So RX is receive, TX is transmit. So what happens is, person A will be transmitting. So person A has a radio, and then he'll be transmitting at a specific frequency. This frequency the person A will be transmitting will be the receiving frequency on the repeater, and then the repeater is going to be transmitting at a specific frequency, of which is going to be the receiving frequency of person B. You get it? So say for example, like, let's take this is a radio for person A. You can see it's currently set at 145.05. So just bear with me, I'm trying to hold this device steadily. So person A will be transmitting at 145.050, and for him to be able to clock or to get hold of this repeater, he's going to be transmitting at 145.050, which is the receiving frequency. Let me make it closer. Which is the receiving frequency of this repeater, which is up high. So this is, it'll receive at 145.050, and then so if coming back to, so you can see here it's set at 145. Make it clear, 050, and so therefore you can see on the receiving side of the repeater it's at 145.050. So already we've confirmed that, and just to make sure this is the truth, so we are going to transmit briefly so you can watch as the receiving side of the repeater turns on, so that you can see that means it has received the signal. Again, it has received the signal. All right, so that part works well. So far so good. Now on the other side, when this repeater has received the signal from here, it's going to turn on now the transmission side or transmitting side of the repeater, and the transmitting side of the repeater transmits it at that is 145.650. This frequency is now the receiving frequency for B. Now the person B will be receiving his signal at 145.650. Yes, I think I got that correctly. Yeah. So basically, that is the principle of operation of a repeater. So what the challenge which I'm having right now is, so you can see person B's radio is currently set at 145.650. You can see the down arrow is pointing at 145.650, and on my homemade repeater now the transmission side is at 145.650. so that is okay. So what, in an ideal situation, what's supposed to happen is, so let me make this radio stand up, and then also this one stand up. So hope I can get all of them in the same frame. So I'm going to transmit on this, and let's watch the transmission side of the repeater, whether it's working. So that is okay, but you can see it's not coming on. That is where the problem is. It's not doesn't seem to come on because since um, VOX is turned on the transmission side of the repeater and they're connected via this cable. So what normally is supposed to happen is this is supposed to send a signal to the transmission side, that is the receiving side and transmission side, which is supposed to go to now the second person's radio. So from our diagram here, the problem which I'm having is on this side coming down to person B. That's where my repeater is not transmitting correctly. I tend to think that the issue for this kind of project might lie in the settings for this second part, because if you look at my setup, I tried as much as possible to eliminate the need that this thing would need to be constantly charged. This is the power section. So this is the batteries for radio A and radio B, the receiving and the transmitting. All of them I've had to remodify this so to ensure that it's going to be always on charge continuously, and I really hope the duty cycle for these two radios will be able to perform that. So generally this is what I've been working on, except for that one problem. This was supposed to be a complete success, but I think I can be able to solve these issues. And also as per radio repeaters regulations, one thing that I also need to do, and I think that can be solved on the firmware for the Baofeng, it's something called identification. So every equipment on the airwaves needs to identify itself. So when the person A hits the repeater at the specific frequency, this repeater must send a signal. It's normally in CW or Morse to identify itself and say what it is, maybe the call sign for the repeater, and pretty much some bit of that equipment. Let me turn this thing off for now. And so that is something that I'm still trying to figure out. I remember last year when I had worked on such a project, I was able to work on the identification part, because you could just pretty much call the repeater and it will acknowledge and send back a signal saying this is this and this and this. So that's not a big issue. So currently, basically that's what we're working on right now. So what I'd have to do to improve this would be, again, because the repeater for the Radio Society of Kenya has a specific frequency which is supposed to operate at. So maybe try to get something close to that, at least so that we can be able to use this this repeater as we try to work on the main repeater and bring it back up. Also, I have some questions which some friends of mine asked me. What is the coverage radius for this repeater? I would say, give or take, should cover around maybe 5 kilometers radius or 10. So that's quite small as compared to what repeaters are supposed to cover. But yeah, you can understand why, because it's quite limited in terms of the radius. And also, since I started working on this, since the receiving side and the transmitting side are so close to each other, they could bring a problem, especially when during the normal functionality of this repeater. So ideally, most text or most resources online recommend that the transmission or the receiving and also the transmission side should be at least far from each other. Maybe I could put this radio upside down away from this, or these two antennas. I think they're way too close to each other. That should not be a big issue for now. I think I can be able to test it out and see it working before maybe take it out. So it should be finished by at least Saturday. I'll be able to have finished this repeater, put it up, and then I'll give an update close to the close. I think to the close of the weekend for this. So basically, this is 5Z4 Whiskey Golf B. Yeah, that is a pretty much a homemade repeater. Should be coming. It should come back on I think on the weekend, and then I'll give a small update. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. My name is Wilfred 504 Whiskey Golf. See you another time. Goodbye.